Welcome to the board. In today's explainer, we're diving headfirst into an absolutely massive macroeconomic shift. We are looking closely at the true economic impact of AI agents. And look, we're not just talking about your typical software upgrades here. No, what we're actually looking at is a fundamental rewiring of global value. It's the kind of shift that absolutely demands our immediate strategic attention. $50 trillion. Let that sink in for a second. When you really dig into the data, you realize this isn't some distant, long-term forecast or a fuzzy estimate. This is the potential value currently sitting right there on the table. It's the absolute scale of what's at stake right now, today. So when we talk about AI, we are literally talking about a $50 trillion pivot point. But, what's actually driving a number that unimaginably large? Well, the data boils that massive number down to a single, very specific catalyst: the agent. Our source material defines an AI agent in a really simple yet powerful way, as a knowledge worker. Basically, think of it as a virtual employee. We aren't just talking about simple background automation anymore. We are talking about entities that actually perform the cognitive, day-to-day work of white-collar professionals. So the big question is, what exactly happens to the economy when we start scaling these virtual employees? Okay, to really wrap our heads around the sheer magnitude of this, we've got to deconstruct the macroeconomic math from the top down. Right now, as it stands, the entire global economy is roughly 110 trillion US dollars. That's the whole shebang, the sum total of all goods and services everywhere. But to understand exactly where our virtual employees fit into all of this, we need to slice open that $110 trillion pie and look inside. When you break the global economy down into its core components, the data reveals something pretty fascinating about labor. It turns out, labor accounts for approximately 60% of the total world economy. Out of that massive $110 trillion, a full 60% is strictly human effort, time, and wages. But remembering that we just defined an AI agent as a knowledge worker, we really have to zoom in and look even closer at that specific labor segment. Filtering the data down even further, here's where we hit the critical step. Estimates show that roughly 2/3 of that global labor slice consists specifically of white-collar knowledge workers. 2/3, just think about that. It means the vast majority of economic value generated by human labor worldwide isn't physical labor at all, it's cognitive. It is the exact kind of information processing, decision-making, and strategy that our source material says AI agents are stepping in to do. And that brings the math perfectly back to our initial hook. When you take the entire world economy, calculate the 60% that is labor, and then isolate the 2/3 of that, which represents knowledge workers, you arrive right back here. Almost $50 trillion of potential value. Now, the absolute key phrasing to consider here is disrupted or enhanced. Virtual employees are stepping directly into this massive space, literally acting as a direct proxy for human knowledge work. Which leads us to a direct quote from the analysis that perfectly frames the reality of this moment. It says, "That is a bigger TAM, total addressable market, than any of the other industries combined." I mean, wow. The total addressable market for AI agents is literally larger than any other combined industry sector on the planet. The implications here are just enormous. We are not just evaluating some new software category, we are looking at the potential total replacement or augmentation of the single largest economic driver on Earth. So, that leaves us with a final, completely unavoidable question. Will this $50 trillion of potential value disrupt us, or will it enhance us? As a board, this is the stark, binary choice we are currently facing. The market exists, the virtual employees are already here, and the addressable market is, without a doubt, the largest in human history. So, how are we going to position our strategy to ensure we are enhanced by this massive wave rather than completely disrupted by it? That's what we need to figure out. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.